NETSI C Standard 1 Visionary Leadership. Technology coaches inspire and participate in the development and implementation of a shared vision for the comprehensive integration of technology to promote excellence and support transformational change throughout the instructional environment. INST 6253 covered this particular standard in full. We did quite a few different things in this class. The first thing that we did is that we looked into understanding how adults learn, because we're talking about teaching other adults mostly through professional development type things, and enabling them to teach their students productively using technology and any other type of instructional method. So the first thing that we did again was looked into adult learning and compared how adults learn to how our students learn, and noticed that there is a bit of a difference in the approach to teaching adults. Has to be a little bit different than what you're looking at with students. Another thing that we did in that class was we collaborated with other students that were in the INST 6253 as pairs and groups working on some different things, as well as a full class had a meeting, a digital meeting with Mr. Blair, Steve Blair, who's the technology coordinator for Montgomery County Public Schools. And we had an question answer type session with him. He gave us information on what it looks like from a technology coordinator's point of view and what their responsibilities are to all the different schools and buildings that are in the district, what they have to do budget-wise, what they're doing infrastructure-wise, and providing all of this for students, and really where their mindset comes from, which is different than those of us who are teachers. We're all about, what's going on in our classroom and not necessarily having to worry about all the infrastructure and different things that go on that the coordinators have to deal with in buying and repairing and keeping all of the different digital systems up to date. So once we got done with that, we got in our groups and worked with either pairs or groups depending on the particular assignment that we did, and compared. I'm from Elmore County, so I was with a group that compared Elmore County with Montgomery County, and then there was another county, Chilton, I believe it was, and we compared what the different districts were doing and how they approach their technology. And interestingly enough, everybody does it a little bit differently. We all have some things that are common, but again, everybody does things a little bit differently, and a lot of that's depending on the size of your district, the infrastructure that's already there, and those kinds of things as well. After we did that, after we collaborated together, then we did some things on our own, and came up with some for our own particular county. I ended up doing a diagnostic test that was provided for us, a link that was provided that we could go in and answer questions about our particular district and what we did, or what we, as a teacher, what we know that they do or perceive that they do. And then we ended up getting a graph back that showed, where we're doing things good, where things need improvement, and then what things we're doing very well in. Again, I want to stress this was from my perspective, how I rated my district, so it may or may not be totally accurate, but again, that is my perception of it. Once we were done looking at that and understanding kind of where we were to write a memo to our district coordinator and give them some suggestions on what we thought would help. So we looked at what our system strengths were, we looked at what some of the weaknesses were, and then we came up with some suggestions for our technology coordinator in our particular account. Another thing that we did was we wrote a white paper after looking at some of the things with adult learning and how adults learn. We wrote a white paper explaining some of the research that we had done. And I did one called Turning Your In-Service Training from Boring to Engaging. Most of us don't necessarily particularly like going to professional development or going to faculty meetings and things like that, because they don't always tend to be the most interesting things that we do. We always have something on our mind that we could be working on, grading papers, lesson plans, whatever. So unless that the professional development session or the faculty meeting session is really, really important, we tend to get bored and sidetracked. And so one of the things that I had done was gone through and looked at what administration can do to make things more interesting and more engaging for the people who are going in. We wrote that white paper on that, giving some suggestions on what we had found in research. And that is how I standard number one.